So my next guest definitely fits the bill, a guy called Phillips. He has been on the front cover of Men's Health magazine 22 times, and on top of that he's a firefighter. He's also a model for Andy Peters' modelling agency, been in GQ, he's been on Vogue Italia, he's worked alongside Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Calvin Klein. He's also brand ambassador for the Turf Games. The guy's a success, and the cool thing about him is he's over 40 now and he's still competing and he's still trying to break records. So I really hope you get value from this. I certainly feel that you will, and no doubt Lee's going to bring some interesting points which everyone can learn from. Hi guys, welcome back to the Stephen Sulley Study. Hope you've been getting value from my podcast over the last year or so. I've got my next guest, actually my first guest of 2020 to interview, a guy called Phillips. So thank you very much, brother, for coming on board.
No problem, mate.
So as I mentioned earlier, we're part of the wellness company Mimbo, so that covers mind, body, soul. Our spin on soul is nutrition. And I like to interview people that kind of tick those boxes. So someone who is kind of forward thinking, someone that's very driven, someone that might be an entrepreneur, someone that might be, has got a vision for the future, someone that trains, someone's, generally just healthy and fit and a go-getter. Mm. And when I spoke to a good friend of mine, who I believe you're a brand ambassador for, William Wood Watches, Johnny.
Johnny, yeah, good guy, Johnny.
Super guy. I've interviewed him and I love his story, and he's the type of person I want to get back on in a few years' time when he builds his company, because I know he's on the right path. He spoke very highly of you and he said, you're definitely a person we need to get on. Yeah. So again, thank you very, very much for coming aboard. No, I'm going to jump straight into it because you've got to leave in about an hour and a half because you've got your fire duties.
Yeah, I'm on a night shift tonight, mate, so starting at 8 till 9:30 tomorrow morning.
So how does a current fireman, but also someone that has been on the cover of Men's Health magazine 22 times, ladies and gentlemen, talk to me about that balance. I mean, like, it's almost like slightly superstardom is in some respects in like the sports and wellness sector, but then you're going out there fighting fires or saving lives. So talk to me about that kind of paradox.
Well, yeah, I was a firefighter first, so I joined the fire service nearly 20 years ago now. So I've been a firefighter for 20 years. And that's what got me to move to London when I finished university. And then when I was in London, I got approached by an agency and then got the casting for Men's Health, and then obviously got the cover, and that's where the Men's Health came from after I'd been in London for about 5 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So doing a little bit of research on you, I see it was a bit of a goal for you to be on Men's Health.
Yeah, I've always done a lot of sports growing up, and I was always into my training and fitness from as long as I can remember, since I was a kid in school. So that guy on the cover of Men's Health, especially because at that age there was no internet, so it was like a sort of an aspirational thing, and I always thought that'd be pretty cool to be that guy. He's fit, he's healthy, and then to achieve it myself was pretty cool. Yeah.
So like 22 times then, is it just, did they just keep on inviting you back, or did you have to apply? How does that work?
No, so initially I went for a casting. You go for a casting and you have like a little interview as well. And then once I initially got that first one, and it sold pretty well. Obviously they check the sales, how the magazine sells, and then I got invited back for a second, and then it sort of built up like a relationship with the magazine and got on well with those guys. And then they used me a few more times in the UK. Then they sent me overseas, and I've done quite a few overseas ones as well. So it's just sort of like blossomed from there.
Men's Health internationally?
Yeah.
Okay. In which countries?
I've done Poland, Australia, South Africa, Germany. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk about sales, what just for some reason jumped into my mind, is it more men buying it or is it women buying it? Because is it basically soft porn for women?
No, I don't think so. I think it's, I don't know, maybe there's a few girls buy it, but I think it's mostly guys. Yeah.
Do you ever get like people hit you up on like social media or even in the street when they recognise you, or at tournaments? I want to talk to you about CrossFit and everything else, like the turf games and stuff like that. But does anyone ever stop you and ask you for tips or?
Not really on the street, but yeah, I get messages. People. It's probably the most common one I get. How do you get a body like that? How do you achieve that level of fitness? And they expect like a few sentences answered. It's a lot longer answer than a couple of sentences. I've been training, like I said, since I was 16, when I was doing sports, even younger than that. So it's been it wasn't like overnight. It was a long process of hard work before I got to that actual photo shoot where I did the cover. It was years of hard work before that.
How old was you when you first done the shoot?
I was 30.
30?
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'm 43.
43, and you're still cracking on with it?
Yeah, still doing it.
When was the last time you was on the cover?
It was in Germany last year. Yeah,
so
June last year. When
people talk about age, fitness, your body, wellness, whether you're going to let yourself go or not, would you say, I've got a view on it, but I want to get your view. Do you think age is just a number, or is there a time when you need to hang it up?
No, totally. I think, if you tell yourself, I'm too old, or I can't do this, I can't do that, then that's what will happen. But if you're still enjoying your training, which I do, is part of my life, it's something I've always done. I feel fitter now than I've ever been. So yeah, I definitely think it is just a number. Totally.
So I was also going to ask this as well. A lot of people would maybe look at someone like you, or any athlete, or someone that's competing at a high level physically, and say, that's a lot of discipline. Now, would you say it's discipline, or would you say it's a complete lifestyle?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Maybe initially when I first started, it was discipline, because you have, well, not discipline, but it's consistency and routine. You have to get into a routine and consistency, and then it becomes part of your lifestyle, because it's what you're used to doing, and it's what you enjoy. It's what I enjoy anyway. Some people don't enjoy it, but for me, I love it, and it is part of my lifestyle. Something I'll probably always do. Yeah.
So you say consistency. I know that's absolutely key in most things in life. So walk me through like a typical week. How do you train? And do you set certain goals, or if you know you're going to do an audition, are you like kind of focused towards that and you're training in a certain way?
Not specifically, no. My training is pretty structured. It fits around my shifts at the fire station. So I'm not one of the. I'm pretty much. I'm quite fortunate. I'm in shape all the time. I don't have to sort of, some people diet down for photo shoots. I've never done that. I've been quite fortunate. I hold my physique all year. So like I say, my training is pretty constant. It changes sometimes when I'm competing in a competition. Obviously, you taper off towards the competition, or if you like, after a competition, you might identify some weaknesses or whatever you need to address. So then you'll change your training to sort of hit those weaknesses. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it mostly? I mean, I've seen some of your achievements, and there's different variations throughout the fire service that I've read up on yourself here nationally, but then internationally. So I want to just talk about that a little bit more. But is it mostly cardio you do, mostly weights, or is it a complete mix?
It's a complete mix of both. Yeah. Like being in the fire service, obviously you have to do a lot of strength training, but you also have to be physically fit, as cardio side of it as well. So it's a mixture of both, and I do quite a lot of CrossFit. I train at a CrossFit gym, so obviously that's a mixture of weights and cardio.
Yeah. So with CrossFit, is that something you've always done? Because I know over the years it's kind of shot up the exposure of CrossFit. I think thanks to Reebok, is it, who've backed it?
Yeah, they were the initial sponsor, headline partner. And
it seems like so many people have just fallen in love with it. I mean, I personally not really got involved with it. I do a bit of boxing, and my training is slightly different to that. But I can see there's so much passion that people have for CrossFit. So how did you fall into CrossFit?
I've only sort of been training at a CrossFit gym, so to speak, for the last 3-4 years. Okay. Because all CrossFit is a brand, you know what I mean? CrossFit is functional fitness. It's a variety of different styles of training put together. The CrossFit is just a brand, and I was always doing that type of training before I started training at a CrossFit gym. I was always mixing cardio with weights, doing different sorts of circuits and things like that. And so in a way I was doing CrossFit, but I wasn't actually doing it at a CrossFit gym.
Okay. And have you ever done any other like other sport like boxing or combat sports, or let's say, I know previously when you were younger you played rugby, I think, for the county.
Yeah.
And then also you played basketball nationally.
Yeah.
So did you carry that on later on in life after university and stuff?
I played rugby at university, and then when I finished university, I still played rugby for a bit. But as I got older, that's one thing I noticed about getting older. The injuries and the recovery took a lot longer. So that's why I actually got into CrossFit, because I was still wanting to be competitive. I wanted to compete at something, but rugby was quite hard and physically demanding in terms of the impacts, and I was picking up quite a few injuries, so that's why I wanted to move away from rugby and ended up getting into CrossFit.
So you're originally from South Wales, right?
Yeah.
4 brothers?
Yeah. I'm the fourth. I've got 3 younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they all as active as you, or what's their kind of
they're all pretty sporty. 2 of them are police officers. So yeah, they're in emergency services as well. And we've obviously all been into sports growing up.
Okay, because I know being Welsh, I know rugby is a massive part of of your culture. So was it always kind of your destiny almost to go into rugby, certainly at an early age?
Well, you play it in school, like back in Wales. You don't play football, you play rugby. So everyone plays it. Like you say, it's part of the culture there. It's a national sport, so everyone plays it at school growing up.
And do you think did you ever had like a vision or a goal to become like pro?
Not really, because like when I was growing up, it wasn't professional.
Okay,
that's how old I am. But it was only when I sort of got to the end of my school that it was turning professional. So. I loved it, but I didn't realise at the time when I was a kid that you could make a living out of it. So I was just playing it for passion, really. Fitness, passion,
and also to do a bit of socialising, basically.
Yeah, some good rugby tours.
I've sort of picked boxing back up after 6 years. I used to box for amateur club, and I've done some unlicensed stuff. And the last fight I had just before this one was 6 years ago for the Queensberry League.
Right.
It's quite a good level. Some pros actually go to the Queensberry League before they go on. Don't know if you follow boxing too much.
A little bit. I like watching UFC.
Okay.
And I sort of watch a few bit of boxing, but I'm not like massively into it.
Okay.
Don't know a lot about it.
Well, what I was trying to get at is like I've gone back into it to challenge myself. Also, I believe it's nice to have like goals, like certainly fitness and health and wellness goals, and boxing does it for me. But I've got an ultimate goal later on in life, maybe when I've kind of not finished with business, but I've hit certain things in my business career, where I want to try and get boxing back into schools, because I believe that knife crime is a big problem in London. Certainly in the UK, but specifically in London. Yeah, totally. You probably know this anyway, being in the fire service and emergency services. And I'm not saying boxing will eradicate it, but I do believe if they had something like boxing where they get to respect each other, if they have a dispute, they can kind of do it in a controlled environment. And I believe it bonds people together. It's not actually violent what people think. But I also think, because I used to play rugby at school, I also think and feel that rugby is kind of similar, because there's a lot of impact and there's a lot of coming togetherness almost. I feel like you build that bond. Would you kind of support that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, the 15 or the 14 other guys you play with in your team, you go to war with those guys. And even though the other team are obviously your enemy when you're on the pitch, and it does get physical, and sometimes there are a few punches thrown. As soon as the game's over, everyone shakes hands, and has a beer afterwards. And it's not like sort of some other sports in that respect where people, it's like football, for example. It can be a lot of disrespect in football, can't it, towards other players, not having a go at football, but towards the referee. but in rugby, you know, the referee you always refer to him as sir, and there is that sort of respect there. And I think that does teach kids, you know, it teaches kids a good lesson.
Yeah.
If they're playing that when they're growing up.
So would you say like sports, specifically rugby and maybe even basketball, is kind of moulded your character, made you a bit confident, and maybe it's giving you certain personality traits that other things just couldn't give you?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I think that being in that team environment, you know, and working for the team, since school I've always been a strong team player. I've always enjoyed team sports more than the individual things. So yeah, 100%.
So going from rugby to basketball, because they're completely different sports,
Yeah.
how did that transition happen?
Well, in South Wales is quite a strong league of basketball teams, and my stepdad, he was a coach, so it was through him I got into playing, and then my brothers were playing as well, so it was basically through my stepdad I started playing. And
what was the feeling like when you represented your country?
Yeah, I was pretty proud. I was only young. I was like under 18, so it was like schoolboy level. But it was a proud moment.
Yeah. And you was at Leicester University. So what was you studying there?
I actually did a geology degree.
All right.
Yeah, something that I wasn't interested in at the time. It was a bit of a thing where I had to go to university. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't really have much good career advice at school, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But all my friends were going to university, so I thought, right, I've got to go. I've got to study something. So I ended up going, and I did geology, and I hated it.
You hated it?
Yeah.
And how did you get on?
It wasn't for me. I didn't even get my degree in the end.
How long did you stay in university for?
I was there for 4 years, and I made some great friends who I'm still friends with now. But yeah, I was just studying something that wasn't of interest to me. Yeah.
So how did you go from doing that into being a firefighter?
So I finished uni, so to speak, and then I was actually working for a bank for a while up in Leicester, and I always wanted to live in London. And a friend of mine who I'd been at university with, he was applying to the London Fire Brigade. And he showed me about it, and I thought, actually, that sounds pretty good. I hated being stuck in an office behind a desk all day. I knew that wasn't for me, and I wanted to move to London, so I applied and went through the recruitment process. And fortunately, I got in first time, and been doing it ever since. So
I know there's fitness a criteria you need to go through. Mm-hmm. Is that something which is quite regular? They make you go through fitness tests all the time?
They've just recently changed it, actually, because you used to have to pass a fitness test to get in, and then you had a medical every 3 years, which they did it's called a chest to step test. It's not that difficult, but they've just reintroduced yearly fitness tests starting this year. So because some people weren't really maintaining their fitness,
the standard that they need.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked you this question: how tough is it? I mean, I believe I'm a fairly fit person, but until you get into an environment where you haven't actually been tested like that before, it's quite unknown. So how fit do you need to be a fireman?
To be honest, there's a great variety of fitness levels in the fire service. Some guys are really fit, and then some guys and girls aren't that fit. So you need to be fit, you know what I mean? Because you can very quickly find yourself in situations where you might have to carry a partner out of a job, all kinds of situations. But I think some people have become a bit complacent because that doesn't happen every day. People sort of don't maintain their fitness a lot in the fire service. So like I said, there's really fit guys, and then there's not people that aren't so fit. So there is a big variety, and that's why I think they've introduced these new fitness tests to try and address that.
Yeah. So I take it you've gone into burning buildings.
Yeah.
And you've seen it all.
I
mean, it's a bit of a sensitive subject at the moment, but obviously there's things going on in Australia, which is horrendous, where there's wildlife has been wiped out by the millions. And I've seen fire people over there doing everything they can to kind of bring it to an end. Then obviously a couple of years back we had Grenfell, and then over the years we've just seen some horrific stuff, which the fire brigade have put their life on the line. I mean, when you see that kind of stuff on TV, I mean, how does that kind of make you feel being a fire person?
Yeah, obviously I can relate to it because I've been in those situations. Maybe not the Australian ones because we don't get a lot of bushfires in London, but it's just, it brings back memories of instances I've attended, and you think it puts things in perspective.
Is there any like scenarios, if you don't mind talking about it, where you've been in and you think that was a hairy moment, or that was like a real scary moment for me?
Yeah, well, I've been doing it for this is my 20th year, so it's, it doesn't happen every day, but yeah, definitely I've been in incidents, and it's not really at the time of the incident, it's because the adrenaline's pumping then, and you're doing your job, you're doing what needs to be done.
And it's almost like masking you.
Yeah, it's afterwards when you come outside, you take your mask off and you sit there for a minute and you think, shit, yeah, that was close, or something else could have gone the other way.
Yeah. And I mean, have you lost any like friends due to it? You worked with?
No, I was at a station where we had 3 of the guys on my watch ended up getting quite badly burnt. Fortunately, we didn't lose any of them, but I've been around situations where that has happened, and obviously you do see fatalities, again, not every day, but you see members of the public that have unfortunately not made it.
Yeah. The reason why I like to ask these questions again, even though they're quite sensitive, is because people like you in emergency services, what people don't appreciate is the mental toughness that you need. And that mental toughness, would you say that kind of helps you and serves you in other aspects of your life?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of support services in the fire service. So any instance that members of our crew or watch are injured, or any instance involving kids or mass casualties, then we've got counselling services, and they contact us, so they're always there available for us if we want to go and chat to them. And I think some people don't really use those enough, because sort of that macho image of, oh yeah, I'm a firefighter, I can deal with it and whatever. And I think going and actually speaking to those people sometimes is the best thing you can do, and not just bottle it up inside.
Yeah. So talking about you competing then inside the fire service, so I was reading there's a couple of like different sort of pockets of, it seems like anyway, things that you've done for the fire service and represented them and also competed for them. So did I read right, you're a double world champion?
Yeah.
For CrossFit and for the fire brigade?
It was called the Ultimate Firefighter Competition, so it was in LA in 2017. They had the World Police and Firefighter Games, which basically brings together police and firefighters, prison officers from all over the world. It's like the Olympics for everyone. So there's all different sports here: track and field, rugby, soccer. Pretty much like the Olympics. Every different sport you can think of, and I compete.
Was it boxing in it?
Yeah, it was boxing.
Yeah, because I think I watched before on TV the fire brigade fighting the police officers.
So boxing, all different weights, judo, wrestling, weightlifting, everything. And I competed in the CrossFit competition, and a competition called the Ultimate Firefighter, which basically is it's like a test. It's like a physical test of your firefighting skills. So it's running up towers, carrying equipment, dragging dummies out. Boiling out hose, dragging the hose up, all different, anything you can think of that a firefighter doing his job, they make basically a course out of it. You do 4 different events, and then you're timed over each different event. And yeah, I managed to win that one and the CrossFit.
On the same day?
No, they were a couple of days apart. It was the competition was, the actual event was over 2 weeks, the games. But yeah, the 2 competitions were a couple of days apart.
So when you're eating in your nutritional regime, I mean, you must be taking on the calories. What kind of stuff are you eating?
I eat generally whole food, so I stay away from processed foods. So a lot of obviously fresh meats, chickens, fish, steak, sweet potatoes, veg. I actually use a food prep company at the moment, so I tell them exactly how much carbs, protein, fats I want, and they deliver me meals specific to what I've requested. It just saves a lot of time.
Yeah, okay, wicked. So I also read that you also hold the record still over six years still for the fittest firefighter individual. I don't even know.
London's fittest firefighter. Was
That's it.
Yeah. You've been reading up on me.
Yeah. So like, I mean, when you won these kind of world titles, if you call it, and also you're holding this record now for 6 years. I mean, the kudos that you must get from that. It must feel pretty special.
Yeah, it feels good, you know. But I don't like to sort of dwell on it too much. But I like to still set myself other challenges. So I'm looking forward to other competitions. But it's good.
Do you reckon you could beat your current like what you've set? You know, your records.
That's always a goal. Yeah, definitely.
How important do you think it is as an individual, sports or no sports? How important do you think it is to set goals and have a vision for the future?
100%. I think it's really important because otherwise, you know, how do you know where you're going? Unless you, like with training, like you said earlier, unless you've got something to train for, then what are you doing? What are you doing it for? You're just sort of going into the gym, or you're going boxing and you're just going through the motions. I think even if your goal is just to be healthier and have a healthier lifestyle, I think it's really important to set goals.
So being in a fire brigade, doing all these competitions, winning trophies, setting records, and then I want to bring on to the next point, which is the modelling career. I mean, so far, you sound like the real life James Bond. I mean, I can't really see the difference.
Yeah.
If they were to ask you to be James Bond, would you do it? Because I think you fucking should.
I don't know. I don't think they'd have a Welsh James Bond, would they?
I don't know. They've been speaking about all kinds of new characters. Yeah. So modelling, and I just asked you before the camera was going, Andy Peters.
Yeah.
He is that's a modelling agency.
Yeah, he's my general manager. Yeah.
What's he like as a guy?
He's a really nice guy. Yeah, we've actually become friends since I've been with his agency, and he's a really nice guy. Very switched on. Because
you wouldn't. I said to my missus, no lie, probably about 2 weeks ago, I said, this guy has not aged. Because when I was a kid, about this big, he looked exactly the same as he does today. And I remember looking and saying, does this guy, what's he drinking? Like, he's remained the same the whole entire time. But the thing that stands out for me, he's so upbeat all the time, so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise he was such a astute businessman behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's got a lot of other businesses that he does. He's got he manages a lot of rugby players, a lot of the England rugby players. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes with TV as well as his own presenting stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I still remember the phone call I got from him because, like you say, when I thought of Andy Peters, I thought of when I was growing up, him on TV, on children's TV. And
yeah, that was it.
I got the phone call because I did something for Men's Health. It was just a little thing, and he'd actually been on the cover of Men's Health himself. They did like a challenge thing with a couple of celebrities, and he got in. Well, he's always been at the gym himself, and he got in really good shape, and he made the cover, and that's where he got the idea to set up his agency for sports models. So he got my number from Men's Health anyway, and he called me, and I missed the call. He left me a voicemail, and he was like, "Hi Lee, it's Andy Peters. I just want to have a chat with you about setting up this agency." And I thought it was a piss take. I thought it was one of the lads from work winding me up, and then called him back, met him for a coffee, and the rest is history. Sort of just went from there.
And how long you been sort of that relationship with him?
That was like back 2007.
Okay.
Maybe a bit before that actually.
So I know you've worked for like Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Calvin Klein. I mean, going from Men's Health cover to that, I mean, you're living kind of what I wanted to do. I always wear Calvin Klein boxers because I pretend at night and I look at myself in the mirror that I'm a model. I'm joking. I'm not, but I am.
Yeah, it sounds glamorous. Sometimes it's not that glamorous, but.
Do you get gifted some free garms and stuff?
Yeah, occasionally you get a few bits and pieces.
So out the three, Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Calvin Klein, who would you say is the best to work for? No pressure.
God. I think they're all pretty good to work for. Yeah.
Politicians
are sitting on the fence there, aren't
they? So how did you So you're part of a modelling agency. Do they approach you, or does your manager sort that out? How's that work?
So Andy sorts all that out for me. All my sort of modelling work comes through him. He arranges everything for me.
That's good. And have you got any other modelling stuff happening?
Not at the moment. I've got nothing booked at the moment. But it's often like short notice, especially some of the men's health stuff that'll come in like a week before.
So you've got to stay in kind of peak condition all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a fat Lee Phillips on the front cover. You can't be eating burgers.
You can't do much in a week if you've let yourself go.
But there's got to be a time where, I know you obviously must be, fascinated with developing yourself and becoming a better version of you and competing and training and stuff, which I am. But there are times when I think, you know what, I'm just going to eat some junk food.
Yeah.
I'm being real. Is there a time you do that, or you just?
Oh yeah, totally. You know, I love chocolate, I love ice cream and stuff, but I do eat it occasionally, but I just don't eat it every day. And I don't think it's not healthy to say to yourself you're never going to eat that stuff, because you've got to enjoy yourself. Life's too short. And
it's almost like an emotional outlet as well sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think you should use food as an emotional outlet, but I think you should enjoy yourself. And if you want to eat some chocolate, or you want to have a burger and chips, have a burger and chips. Doesn't matter.
Well, I've got to admit, when I feel a bit depleted sometimes, I just crack on with the chocolate, and I'm just like, and it actually that picks me back up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a placebo effect or what, or it's the amount of sugar in it, but yeah.
And it doesn't matter, if you're training hard, it doesn't matter. But if you eat it all the time, if you're eating it every day and you're not training, then that's when it becomes a problem.
Goes back to what you said about consistency. If you're consistent living right, but then you have a couple of moments where you're not, or you're consistently eating the wrong food, you're going to get problems.
Yeah, totally.
So modelling. So you're doing that, and then you're brand ambassadors for, well, obviously Willingwood watches.
Yeah.
Maxi Muscle. I'm trying to remember. Fit food.
Fresh Fitness Food.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then Turf Games.
Yeah, Turf Games. Yeah.
How do you fit all this stuff in?
I like to be busy, so yeah, it's sometimes it's a bit of a juggling act. But at the fire station, I work 2 days, 2 nights, and then we have 4 days off. So I get quite a bit of time where I can fit other things in, or I can swap shifts with guys, or take some leave, and if something comes up on a day when I'm supposed to be working. So I like to be busy. I don't like to just be sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know, like being a model, but then working for the fire service, and you're obviously around a lot of fellas? Do they have little like banter at you?
Oh,
and
of
take
course,
the piss
mate.
at you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. When I was on the cover for Men's Health the first time, I got the piss taken out of me. We were doing a lecture, and there was a flip chart, and the officer taking the lecture was flipping through it, and then he flipped it over, and the cover was like stuck to the flip chart. So yeah, I get the piss taken out of me, but it's all good fun. Good
stuff. So the Turf Games, I don't know so much about it. So could you just, for the audience, what is that?
So Turf Games, it's like a functional fitness team competition. So we talked about CrossFit earlier, similar to CrossFit, but it's more accessible, so it doesn't have a lot of the really complex movements that CrossFit has. And yeah, we run competitions all over the world. We've got one in London next month. It's our winter festival. We've got one in the UK in summer, and we've done competitions in New York, LA, Sydney. We've done 2 in Sydney, and we've got one in Dubai in March.
That's good.
And I design all the workouts. I'm the head programmer, so I design all the workouts.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Wicked. So what kind of things does it consist of then?
So it's again, it's cardio and weights. So one of the workouts might be like, you might have a rowing machine, and then you might have a couple of heavy D balls, and as a team, it's all about the tactics of how you'll be given a set amount of work, and as a team, it's normally teams of 5. It can be either all guys or girls, or mixed, 3 guys, 2 girls, and it's how you tackle that workout. You decide the tactics amongst your team, and yeah,
it's good.
Crack on.
Good. Have you done things like the Tough Mudders and all those? The tough, is it a tough man, tough guy?
I've never done Tough Mudder. No, I've never done that.
Okay. Is it slightly? Would you say like there's some similar things in Turf Games and stuff as that?
Not really, because Tough Mudder is more of like an assault course, isn't it? I think I've not done it, but from what I understand, it's more of an assault course too. Like Turf Games is is more of a competition. So we'll have, like on the 8th of one on the 8th of February, we've got an elite category and an everyday category. So obviously the elite's the fittest guys, and then the everyday is guys who like going to the gym, but they're not sort of at that elite level, but they want to go and have a workout with their mates. It's like playing rugby, but it's like that team mentality, but you're competing in a sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have 5 different arenas, and each arena will have a different workout in. So during the day, each team will work their way around the 5 arenas, and obviously get a score. At the end, we'll tot up the scores. We'll have a final, and then we'll crown like a champion at the end of it.
Nice. Have you, outside of that and other things that you're doing, have you got any other businesses that you're focusing on or you're developing behind the scenes? To
be honest, yeah, Turf Games takes up a lot of my time at the moment, so I'm...
Are you an owner of that?
No, I'm not. A friend of mine, Andy, he's the founder, but like I say, I'm the head programmer, so I design all the workouts, so it takes up quite a lot of my time. We've just got, last year we got Under Armour on board as our headline partner, so yeah, it's great to have them on board, and it's this year hopefully we've got some exciting things planned.
Yeah, amazing. And it allows you to, I guess, like you say, travel.
Yeah, I love travelling, and yeah, what a better way to sort of see the world, just go to these great places and do a bit of fitness.
Yeah. So with your previous work as well, modelling, you must have done a bit of travelling as well?
Yeah, fortunately that's one of the perks of that job as well. You get to go to some pretty nice places.
What's the best place you've been to?
I love Cape Town. It's one of my favourite places. Definitely.
Why?
I just it's still a bit sort of, not too many people know about it, and it's the food there is amazing. Steak, seafood, wine, scenery's unbelievable. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful place.
Yeah. Anywhere else that you would recommend travelling to? I think it's important for anyone in life to go travelling, because you see different cultures and see new things. Anywhere else that you feel like is a good place to visit?
Where I've been recently, I was in Sydney. Sydney's again is one of my favourite cities. Such a cool place. And I stopped in Bali on the way back, and that was interesting actually, because first time I went to Bali was over 10 years ago, and then to go back this year, it was to see how much that place has changed is crazy. Because everyone who's into fitness goes there now, but like 10 years ago it was half the size it was.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So goals for you in the next 5 or 10 years, Lee, where do you see yourself, or where would you like to be?
Where would I like to be? That's $1 million question, that, isn't it? I don't know. It's just doing what I'm doing, but maybe at the next level.
42 covers?
Yeah, well, you never know. As long as they keep asking me back, I'll keep doing it. So
I was going to ask actually, do they pay you for it?
Yeah, you get paid.
And every time you get on there, do you get paid more, or?
Yeah, you get paid for every shoot. So they might get. Well, they do get a lot of images per shoot, and they might use more than one image. So from one shoot, they might get 2 or 3 covers out of it. So you just get paid the one time. But it's not mega money, but most guys would do it for free anyway. I'd probably do it for free. You know what I mean? Because
and it must help build your profile anyway, and that must sort of dovetail into new opportunities, because when you've got a platform like that, people must reach out to you all the time for different opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. I think it gives you a bit of credibility, you know. You're working with a brand like Men's Health. It's a really well-established and well-respected brand, and to make it onto the cover, I think it shows you've put in a lot of, hard work. So yeah, it does open up other doors. Which
do you get a lot of women hit you up as well?
Occasionally. I'm not saying it never happens. So but yeah, now and again.
Fair enough. I've got some quick questions here, Lee, before we wrap up. A couple of things that the community asked me to ask you. I think I've covered some of these, but I just want to ask you this one. What led you to your decision to become a firefighter?
Like I said earlier, it was a friend of mine. After I finished university, I didn't know what I wanted to do. He was applying. I knew I wanted to live in London, and he showed me all about it, and so it's down to him, really. I got him to thank. Yeah.
Being a model then, and working alongside Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Calvin Klein, as we said, and probably many other brands as well, do you ever feel like pressure, stress, gets to you, or how would you like? Do you feel it ever? Yeah, you're at a fairly high level, I would say. Do you ever feel like it overwhelms you?
No, to be honest, not at all. Because for me, that work isn't really work. I feel stressed when I'm in the fire situations. Do you know what I mean? Because that is hard, but putting on some clothes and walking down a catwalk for me isn't stressful. But
if you had to choose between a model and a firefighter, which one and why?
I think firefighter, because it is a very rewarding job. When you go to work, you never know what's going to happen when you go to work. So that's what I like about it as well. I can go into work tonight. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. It could be a quiet night, or we could be out doing all kinds of things. And when you do actually do something and you help someone, it is an immense amount of job satisfaction. And I think that's why I love it, and that's why I still do it, because the pay's not good. It pays shit, And I think that's why a lot of guys and girls do it, is because of that satisfaction of actually helping someone and feeling that you've made a difference.
Yeah, the euphoria, especially if you save someone's life as well.
Yeah,
that must be incredible.
You can't buy that feeling. Do you know?
We've got another one here. What's a day in the life like for you? Anything specific, routines, anything that you do? Like you wake up early, you eat at a certain time. Yeah. What's a typical day?
Typical day. Well, if I'm on a day shift, for example, I'll wake up. I'll train before work, so I'll get to the gym for like 7. I'll train till about 8:30. Then I'll head to work, start a day shift at 9:30, and that'll run till 8 o'clock at night. And yeah, pretty much once I'm finished at work, it's home, and I'm by that point I'm pretty knackered. So I'm normally in bed for like 10 o'clock every night.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Personal development. I'm a big believer of lifelong education. Reading books, listening to podcasts, being around the right people, going to seminars. I think it's very, very important. Do you do any self-development or anything that you read or listen to?
Absolutely, yeah. I totally agree with you there. I think it's, you're always trying to improve yourself, and I love listening to podcasts. I don't read as much as I should, but I think because podcasts are now so easy to listen to, people don't really read as much. But yeah, I'm always trying to develop myself and learn new things. I don't think you ever stop learning.
Yeah, and I've got the last one here. So as I mentioned to you earlier, your life does sound a bit like a dream to a lot of people, and I mean, ticking so many of the cool boxes. Being on the front cover of Men's Health multiple times, being a firefighter, probably has some amazing experiences, travelling, being a model, competed at a high level in certain games, winning awards. Is there any times that you get like dark moments where you feel like you've had a setback, or you feel slightly like, I don't know, not depressed, but do you ever get those moments? And if you do, how do you overcome them?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone has those moments. Sometimes you have a bad day, do you know what I mean, or things don't go right, and yeah. But I think you just got to think nothing lasts forever. That's it's just a blip, or you just got to it's not going to last forever, and there's sunshine on the other side.
Focus beyond it.
Yeah.
Right. The last thing is my catchphrase. My saying is "Be happy, never content." I've got my own reason why I say it, but if I were to ask you to tell the audience, what is your interpretation of "Be happy, never content"?
Be happy, never content. I think it's like we said earlier. It's enjoy the moment, but always have those goals that you want to strive for. So you're happy in the moment, but you're not content because you want to achieve other things. So you're always looking forward to get those things, I think.
Perfect. Lee, where can everyone find you?
Instagram, Lee Phillips 999. That's the same on Twitter. Yeah, so either of those. If you want to know anything, just drop me a DM. Cool.
Got any other like engagements where people can find you, or go to, I don't know, watch you compete or anything like that coming up over the next couple of weeks or months?
Normally Instagram's the main one I'll update. So yeah, like I said, we've got the Turf Games Winter Festival on the 8th of Feb. So yeah, check that out, and yeah, check out my
Good
Instagram.
Man. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for sharing an insight to your life, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on a cover a couple more times, mate.
No worries. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Cheers, bro.
Nice to meet you.